All right. Hi, Rob. How are you today?
Great, great. It's
Welcome to Spotlight on Pittsburgh. I'm totally psyched to have you here today.
thank you.
Obviously,
Yes, we are virtual friends. So
yes, we are virtual friends, which isn't that all the friends these days?
yes, yes, yeah, yeah. It's been
But
that
it's
that
nice.
type
I
of
mean, now we're getting this slice of life into everybody's homes, and they're, just way too much information out there.
right, right.
Um,
I'm lucky that I had my house painted a few years ago. Uh, because otherwise it would have been a very beige existence. So
yeah, that's very true. I hear there's a lot of home remodeling going on. Everybody's staring
yes,
at their
I've
houses
I've
and
noticed that in my
I can
neighborhood.
paint it.
So yeah, if this thing stretches on into next summer, I don't know what people are going to do. I guess they're going to have to buy new homes to remake those. So
Yeah, that's the only thing you can do. I mean, you're
yeah,
going to be so sick of being at your house, you're going to have to find one. So,
yeah, I'm
well,
lucky though. I've been able to get to the arena, PPG Paints Arena, a few times, and get the Lemieux Sports Complex out in Cranberry a few times for Penguins practices and games. But it's certainly not the same, and I don't think we're going to be getting anywhere near the same. Certainly this hockey season. Hopefully by next fall.
yeah,
Everything I write at the Athletic will actually have people that have been in stands seeing it before I get into it. But slow and steady, I guess.
yeah. I mean, I miss the days. I love going to hockey games, and even if I'm in the nosebleeds, I am. You're in there, packed tight in those seats. So
Yeah,
I know it'll be a little bit, but I hope that eventually we can at least do social distancing in there. Kind of bring it back slowly. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah. It's been. I mean, the first time I went, I remember just it was great to be there, but it's the same time if you're in the nosebleeds, we're way up higher in
yeah,
the
that's
on the
true.
Mike
That's
Lang media
true.
level. And I tell people that's my office. I mean, I've been covering the Penguins the entirety of the Crosby era. So I went from the very old, you know, right up against the ceiling of the Civic Arena press level to the new one, which is great and spacious. But even up there, you have, 3, 4 seats between everybody, and it's certainly not the same. And the thing I noticed was you get used to the fans being there, and they're doing all the in-game video board things with the games. The Penguins are, which is great. It sort of keeps the players feeling like it's still as normal as it can feel. But when you don't have the crowd's white noise to dull out those like
The
between
electronics.
period things, oh, that's a different type of it's a different type of loud.
Oh, I
So
can only imagine. I
yeah,
mean, that arena, I'm sure, picks up on it, and then
yeah,
the high ceilings just blast it
right.
out to you, even up in your box up there.
Yeah, yeah. So it's weird when I tell people, how's it like? What's it like with nobody in there? Noisy. How's that so? It's acoustics. I write about hockey. Don't ask me to explain that stuff. So
Well, I'm sure it's a big difference. I'm sure you're looking for different things too. I'm sure it's a different environment when you're in there. Some of the stuff you could probably keep up with a little better with the crowd there, but I'm
yeah,
sure zeroing in on more details as well.
it is. It's I mean this. It's great to be there. It's also a bit, for lack of a better way of putting it, sad because the things usually if I'm covering a game that night and it starts at 7, I'll get there no later than 5 o'clock. Get there early so I can talk to some people, other NHL scouts from other teams. You try to, as a reporter, you try to bump into people, right? And now I'm getting there as quick to the game as I can. And even when you see some of the ushers that you've become familiar with over the years, these people that you know by first name and face, and they feel like family. Your first instinct is to want to, for lack of a better way of putting it, give them a hug,
Yeah.
and you can't. And they want to talk to you, and they have to talk to you from a distance. So I think a lot of it, and the Penguins have been great about keeping everybody safe and allowing as many of us in as they can. But um, boy, it really does make you think about what you don't have. And I know that's some people say, oh, that's a pessimistic way of looking at it. I look at it as it's a constant reminder of what we're trying to get back to. And when I'm in there, people joke I wear 3 masks. And I'm like, well, I just want to make sure I'm not the reason anything happens. So,
That's true.
you know,
Well, I thought you were going to say that you're really taking care of yourself, but that's,
yeah,
I
no,
put it
I
out
don't, I
to make
mean,
sure you're
if we can
taking care
get
of the
through
game.
3 masks, maybe, but I don't know if that's the case or not. So,
Well, how do you feel like the players deal with not having that crowd enthusiasm in the backdrop?
yeah, they hate it. I mean, look, they're hockey players. They love playing hockey. That's what they want to do. But I mean, especially the guys like Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, who have, they're in their 30s. They've been through everything. And, I think early in this hockey season, you've seen the Penguins get off to slow starts. And usually when the players won't agree with you on something across the board, that means you've hit the nail on the head. And they won't agree that maybe the slow starts are because they're not sort of vibing off that buzz of the crowd as much. But
I can imagine.
and I think I especially notice it on the road because those guys get so energized by going into another arena and sort of feeding off that negative energy, the booing and that. And it's been an adjustment. I think it was definitely something they struggled with when they went to the playoffs in the bubble environment, and it's not been quite the same, but it's been close since they've come back. And when I say they hate it, they're happy to be playing hockey, but they want fans because they're hockey players, like every athletes, are creatures of habit, and they get used to that. And
I mean, these players have been playing since who knows how long, but even in high school, there was a crowd. So it's like their whole careers they've spent with this crowd enthusiasm. And now it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know if you know my background at all, but I worked at the Isoplex with them practicing there for a while. And I mean, it's quiet. There's even crowds for practices. So it's quiet. You hear that puck, you hear the scrape of the ice. And, without that big crowd roar, it's a different way to play. It's definitely.
Yeah, and I think practices have been the one area where I've really felt it, because usually where they practice now out at the Lemieux complex in Cranberry, those are usually open to the public, except for the playoffs. And for a lot of people that either can't get tickets because the Penguins are sold out, or they can't afford tickets because hockey is an expensive sport, that's where they bring their kids to see their hockey heroes. And that's such an intimate setting out there. And it's a great facility. I mean, they play a lot of hockey games, a lot of youth tournaments and everything out there. But when the crowds are out there to watch practice, it's really a good environment. And it's been a year since I've experienced that, since they've experienced that. And that's a real pick me up for everybody. I mean, it's not just the players, it's the coaches, it's the people you don't see, the equipment managers who get to the rink 4 hours ahead of everybody and leave 4 hours later. And, they kind of live off, carbs and caffeine, and they feed off that energy. And Pittsburgh fans are so passionate, and good and bad that way, but they're always so passionate. And I think all the Penguins have sort of been adjusting to that.
And so what do you think, coming up in the future of this season, what are your predictions, if I can ask you, or what do you think, how are they looking now from what you can tell from the first few games?
Yeah, it's so hard this year. I'm higher on them than most people around the country. I think beat writers tend to get a little myopic. So if you're not high on the team, you think they're a lot worse than they are. And if you are like me, you probably think they're better than they are. I don't mean to hedge my bet here, but because the schedule is so unique, and because instead of 82 games, it's 56, and because they're playing these, for the most part, 2-game series against teams, and they're playing the same 7 teams all season, it's really tough to say what you expect, because what I expect is about 6 teams in this division, and there's only 8 teams, right? I expect 6 of them to be within about 5 points of each other at the end of the season. If you're the Penguins, you hope that you're on the right side of that, because only 4 teams make it. So I think early on, the best thing for them was when they got back from Philadelphia, where they started 0-2 but played well, they won their next 4 games at home. And, as I say, any point you get early, that's a golden point that puts you in a position to compete for silver. And
it changes your mindset for the whole game if you get that point in early. You're like, I'm ahead, I'm going to do well,
right.
I'm going to do great. If you have the opposing team come out and score twice, you're going to be like, well, what are we going to do now? So, I mean,
Yeah,
they're
and the Penguins,
professionals. They get
they're
their
such a
heads.
veteran team. They've been through so much, so it's really nothing's going to phase them. But it's a big year for them, and I mean, they are, as I say, Crosby, Malkin, and Letang are still great players, but their best years, their elite peak years are behind them, because any athlete, when they get into their early to mid 30s, they start declining a little. I still think they're going to be great players for several more years, but each year that passes that they don't make a deep playoff run, that's one more year they don't have. And after 2 years where they've lost in the first round, and pretty convincingly, they built a pretty interesting team this year. They built a team that's really predicated on having their top guys do a lot of the scoring, having their bottom six forwards really defend a lot, and hoping their goaltending holds up. And though it's certainly too early to tell, I think definitely you can see what their formula can be. It's a matter of, do they get lucky with COVID? Do they get lucky with injuries, which the Penguins rarely do? And, I think more than anything, it's a cliche in the NHL, if you cover it, just get in and you have a chance. But this year it really is. Just be one of those 4 teams from each division that gets in. And after that, I tell people just hang on, because you're not going to have any idea what to expect after that.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping for the best. I know all of Pittsburgh's behind the Penguins, so hopefully they can, we're hanging in there with COVID, and we know that they're trying their best out there to make this happen, and we'll be there to cheer them on throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, and it's not been super fun for them. You got to remember too, if you're thinking about these guys, you got to remember when they go on the road, they can't leave the hotel basically unless they go to practice. If they want to see their families have to take COVID tests and everything. So, look, they're paid really well, and they get to play a game for a living, and they'll be the first to say they have it a lot better than most. But, it's if this is one of your first years in the NHL, like last year or this year, it's nothing like you expected.
No, what a bummer, right? That would be a bummer. But if they, happen to succeed in their entire season, then it'll be totally worth it. And maybe it was a good change for them. So we can only wait and see what happens.
Fingers crossed. That's what
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed and mask on. That's what
masks on. Great. Well, the good thing is hockey players are already wearing masks for the most part.
Yes, so. True. They've been used to in fact, the funny thing is I'm trying to get them to tell me what is the best defogging substance, because I don't wear these for show. I need them. And it's kind of become a joke amongst the media how much I miss of the first period or the first part of practice, because my glasses just fog up. And I've tried everything. I just the other day bought, I think, my 10th mask since the season started, trying to find something that will.
They have the ones with the little hole. Have you tried that with the little vent in it?
Well, they don't want us wearing that because they don't want us potentially getting stuff out. So I think my next attempt is going to be to tape the mask right here so that the stuff doesn't come up. It's a good thing. The best part about the mask is I don't have to shave, right? Usually I would shave, but I don't have to shave now because I'm always wearing a mask. But the bad part of the mask is I can't see. But a lot of people that read me over the years say, Rossi, you don't know what you're watching anyway. So it might not really be that big of a difference.
Yeah. Well, I think all of us, the lipstick industry is just, they're falling apart as it is. So I'm sure you will find something for a defogger. I think that's the next step. If COVID keeps going on, somebody's going to make a lot of money on Shark Tank by coming up with the mask glasses defogger. So
Shark Tank needs to get the mask defogger for the glasses. And the thing I've struggled with the most is getting used to using a straw, because you can't really drink with the mask on safely, but I'm just not used to using a straw. It's been so long. So I got to remember to bring one. And then I got to remember that if I have my water bottle or I have my, my water or whatever, that the straw's in it. And, often it's oh, geez, that was my lip. I just stabbed myself with a straw. So I'm I'm blind, I'm bleeding, I look like a hockey player as a writer, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing about winter sports is you want to put a mask on. it's cold, especially if you're doing an
Yes.
outside sport. If you're skating outside, it's nice to have that mask on and keep your
And in the arena, I have 2 space heaters going at all times. It's a joke. People are like, Rob, you're 42. Are you really at that age where you need a heater all the time? And I'm like, yes, I am, son. Please get away from my heater. So it's cold there. So I usually have I have a scarf with the mask and everything. So I look like an abominable, look like I'm trailing the abominable snowman. So I long for the days of summer when I'm on the board at the aviary and I can do I can get out to their Nights of the Tropic party where it's like, it feels warm again, right?
Oh, those
So,
are wonderful events.
yeah,
I've been over there, and congratulations on stepping onto the board of the aviary.
thank you. Yeah,
It's a wonderful, wonderful place to support in Pittsburgh.
right. Thank you. And it's a great treasure. And I'll plug that, if you want to help out, you can buy a membership to the aviary. It's something not enough people in our city know about. And they have new baby penguin chicks. So, I
See?
mean, look, I'm a Penguins writer. I'm telling you about the aviary's new penguin chicks. Like you gotta go, Pittsburgh.
And they have the little sloth Valentinos.
Yes.
So, I mean,
Yes.
that's not really a bird,
Sloth's
I
adorable.
understand, but he hangs
I
out with
wanna
them.
leave with the sloth.
He's their mascot,
Yeah.
He's just helping out the birds. So
Yeah. Right. I mean, hey, look, the birds have been here before us. They'll be here after us. And
they will.
they've
They
been
will.
social distancing long before it became popular. I can tell you that.
Yeah. And they just have to take off and take flight, right?
Yes. True. True.
Good. Well, I am so glad. Keep supporting the aviary. As always, it's a staple of Pittsburgh. I've been going since I was a little kid. I've brought my children there. And keep writing about those pens, and let's make sure we stand behind them in the new season and understand that they're under a lot more pressure than they normally have been and under stranger circumstances. So we're all trying to get through COVID, and one Penguins win definitely helps out each week. So
Thanks for all you're doing too. On Instagram, I get heartened by seeing the pics of the family and everything that you share. So
thank you.
For single guys like me, we live vicariously through all of our friends that have families and everything now. So it's
all the good stuff, right? I
nice.
try to share the good and the bad, or at least the
Yeah.
stuff I mess up, right?
Hey.
Sometimes I can't hard boil eggs. It's okay. It just happens to be Easter.
Hey, like I said, I'm single. So if I make the egg without egg stuff, like egg cracks in it, it's all good. So
good. Well, anything else you want to share? If you want to share an upcoming update or article with us, we'd be more than happy to share it with this. As I said, this will be out on Peters Township Community Television as well as Pittsburgh Community TV. We thank both of them. I also want to say thank you to Denise Gallione or Galoni. She is my producer of the show. She helps make this happen. And to everyone else who's watching. So thank you, Rob, for coming on, letting us know your thoughts on the Penguins and masks and all of this COVID fun. And we look forward to having
we'll do it again for the playoffs. How about that? Once the playoffs come around, we'll do it again. We'll do like a
We'll do it again if there's playoffs. I guarantee you a spot here. So
yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Rob, and we will see you again soon.